Hi viewers, welcome to TestBite. This channel mainly focuses on software quality assurance. We will be adding content related to all types of testing, from manual to automation. Please subscribe to the channel for more upcoming tutorials. Today in this tutorial, we will be looking into software testing life cycle, also known as stlc. stlc is a very important aspect when it comes to software testing. Let's today get to know what is software testing life cycle and why it is important and what's entry and exit criteria. Further, let's understand each phase of the cycle clearly. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with more upcoming tutorials. Nowadays, almost everything is process-oriented. Day by day, the process trend is changing and advancing. In the software industry, as software testing is a very important phase in the software development life cycle, the testers are required to be broader in technical and business aspects. Testers now are not just limited to finding bugs, but the involvement of the testers starts from the beginning of the project, even before the requirements are not finalized. All of these steps and actions are undertaken to standardize the process. Just like software development has a life cycle, testing also has its own life cycle. The software testing life cycle is a testing process that is carried out to meet software quality standards. The testing is performed in a systematic way in different phases. Each of these phases has its own importance and deliverables. Different organizations have different numbers of stlc phases, with their exit and entry criteria. As a basis, the software testing life cycle begins with requirement analysis. Then, it's test planning. After that, it's the test case development phase. Then comes the environment setup phase. Then begins the test execution. The bugs and defects are logged during this phase. And, finally, the test cycle comes to its closure. You have entry and exit criteria for all the phases in the software testing life cycle. So, what are entry and exit criteria? An entry criteria is the condition, or the set of conditions that should be followed or achieved before a particular phase begins. These are basically the prerequisite items that need to be met before the start of a phase. An exit criteria is the condition, or the set of conditions that decide the completion or termination of the task. This defines the items that must be completed before a specific phase can be concluded. Let's now have a look at each phase in depth. Requirement analysis. This is the first step of the stlc. We need to know what needs to be tested, and the scope of the requirement, and so on. If there is anything missing in the requirement, or anything is not clear, then the testing team can have a discussion with the stakeholders to clarify any issues or doubts. The requirements can be functional, non-functional, or both. Test planning. This is the important phase of the cycle. This is where all the test plans are defined. The senior QA members will determine the test plan strategy. Further, the resources, test environments, limitations, and testing schedules also will be determined in this phase. The outcome of this phase will be test plan and test estimation documents. Test case development. Once the test planning is done, then the test case development phase gets started. This is the phase where the test scenarios and the test cases are identified. Further, in this phase, the team will prepare test data as necessary. Once the test cases are done, they will be reviewed by the QA team. Test environment setup. Test environment setup is an independent activity that can be started along with the test case development phase. During this phase, testing environments are configured, including a variety of tool selections. Once environments are set up, a smoke test is carried out to make sure that the environments are working fine. Test execution. Once the test cases and test environments are ready, the execution of the test cases will get started. The features are tested in the deployed environment, using the developed test cases. During this phase, actual results are compared with expected results. Bugs and defects observed will be reported. Test closure. This is the final phase of the software testing life cycle. During this phase, test completion reports with test result is prepared. A summary of the entire testing carried out throughout the phases is prepared. During this phase, the lessons learned throughout the previous phases are taken into consideration for any further improvement. That's all for today's session. I hope you got a clear understanding of the software testing life cycle and its each phases. Let's see you in our next session. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until then, happy learning.